Welcome to this week's episode.
Hello,
I'm Christina Calhoun, and this is.
Shawn Calhoun.
And today we are talking about listings specifically and how you can win every listing by following these techniques.
That's right. And before we dive into it, if you want to reach out to us, how could they get in touch with us? We have something new.
Yes, we are launching Pretty Home Academy. So if you want to have access to our other videos, you go to prettyhomeacademy.com and there you can see other tips and advice in the real estate market for you agents out there, as well as buyers and sellers.
Yeah, and again, these are going to be training videos. These are the very training videos that we teach our agents how to win business, how to make more money in their business. Um, it's just so much just valuable information that we're putting in there. So definitely check it out. And where can they find that again?
That's at prettyhomeacademy.com.
All right.
So back to our topic for today, how to win listings every time.
Well, if you think about it, no matter what the market is, if you want to have a thriving real estate business, you need to have some listings definitely in your repertoire. If you don't have them, your company needs to have them so that you guys can work together. So if you are on the listing end, what should you do? How do you win the business? And we're talking about when you um, are with that client. Okay. So
So we're talking about on a listing appointment.
correct. Very good. So when you get there, it is going to be of the utmost importance. Number one, the to make them feel important. To make them feel important. Okay? Because really, they truly are. They have a problem. And as a consultant, we want to solve that problem.
So wait, Shawn, I thought the whole point of the listing presentation was for them to find out how great I am as a real estate agent and how I can help them sell their house. That's not the point of it?
Well, no, a lot of agents do take that approach. And even if that's your approach, we can show you how to put a little twist on it. But really, me, and talking about how great I am, you'll actually, if you look at at your client, you'll notice their eyes might start glazing over and they're kind of like, yeah, but I have a problem and you don't know what it is. It's kind of like, just imagine going to the doctor, right? Now you have these symptoms. Your doctor's told you exactly how you told your doctor exactly how you, well, you haven't told your doctor, let's say, how you feel yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you walked into your doctor's office and you may have just written down, normally they'll have you write down what your symptoms are before you go in. What if you came in and your doctor said, okay, well, here's your prescription. I want you to do this. Have a nice day. You're probably wondering, you didn't listen to me. You don't know exactly what's going on with me. Well, these are trained professionals. They could probably more than likely diagnose it, but they could be wrong. So to really drill down and get it right, you'll notice they'll have an intake form where you write down what's wrong. You'll probably go in and talk to a nurse and tell them what's wrong, and they check your vitals to see if it lines up. Then you talk to the physician, the doctor, who reads those charts and asks you the same questions again. Come from that same consultant point of view, and guess what? More than likely, you're going to get the diagnosis right, and that's going to make them feel important, and you're going to win that client and also see what's important to that client. So actually, that does kind of lead uh, into our next point, which is understanding who you're talking to. Now, what do we mean by understanding who we're talking to? Like we have baby boomers, millennials. What are we talking about here? Who are we talking to?
Well, you really need to know your client's background and what they're comfortable talking about or not talking about.
Exactly. Because you have different personality types. Some people are a little, they hold their cards a little closer. They're not going to just start divulging information to you. And some people, they just start spewing it out to you. You're like, whoa, that's too much information. We just met. But you need to know who you're talking to, okay? And really, also, there's different age groups and different thoughts. So we sometimes talk about baby boomers, that age group, and so understand them. And also understand, millennials, younger people, they use the internet a lot more, different things. They think overall, just in general, a certain way. Everyone's an individual, but understand that, and then understand different personality types. Okay, you might have an engineer, they may be more analytical, or an accountant. You may have an expressive person. So understand personality types. That's something as an individual you need to understand, and just think about it like a waiter. Okay, if you go to a table, and just imagine you're at a table, right? And you're having a serious discussion, and the waiter just comes up super cheerful, and they just blurt and start interrupting. You're thinking, wow, they're a terrible waiter, because they didn't know how to read the table. They didn't know how to do that. So as an agent, as a consultant, you need to be able to read your client. And so you're going to understand, the mood, the type. And that also goes into knowing them. What's their occupation? What type of work do they do? And that's what Christina was mentioning. What's their background, right? Mm-hmm. Because that goes into our very next point of how do you speak to that person, right?
Right.
So you want to speak in their language. What do I mean by that? Are we going to start speaking literally a different language? What are we talking about?
No, but you want to use terms that they'll understand. And if you're giving them like an illustration, if they're in the medical field, you would want it to be kind of a medical background illustration. Or right. If they're an engineer, then you would want it to be something that an engineer would understand, so that you are speaking to them in a way that they can understand what point you're trying to get across, without going into like this realtor lingo that it may completely go over their heads.
Right. And one good way to do that, to stay on top of that, is by listening to different news shows. You can listen to NPR radio, the BBC, World News, but you kind of get a really diverse overall understanding, just of what's going on in the world and different things. So you'll have things to talk about and share with people from different walks of life.
Right.
Okay.
So, for instance, if someone's from an engineering background, they like data. So they're going to really want to focus in on numbers, comps, days on the market, things like that. So you're going to want to give them that data.
That's so good. Because if you're talking to an expressive and you start talking about data, that goes to the other point. Pay close attention to them. If their eyes start glazing over and they're looking like, oh, yeah. Right. They don't care about that. You're not helping them solve their problem.
So that would be a time when you would need to ask them a question.
Right. That's right. Stop talking about that immediately and ask them a question. You know what? I noticed it seems like, the marketing doesn't seem to be the most important thing to you. What is important to you? What's the most important thing to you? Okay. You can just ask.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be afraid. I mean, that shows some confidence, and they're really going to say, wow, this person really cares about my needs. And another thing on speaking, I mean, this is pretty simple. We both know this. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? Use that to remember on a listing consultation, you should be doing twice as much listening as talking. That's going to win you some business right there. Mm-hmm. Because if you're listening, I mean, a lot of times the best conversations, people are like, oh, that was a great conversation. It's because they were talking. Right? And if you want that listing, get them talking quick.
Yeah.
Get them talking quick.
That's a really good gauge. If you're doing all the talking, then this is not going so well.
Right. That's right. That's right. How do you get them talking? Well, there are some tools that we use, and we use it with consistency. Okay. When we come in, I've heard a lot of different agents do different things, but this has worked. This works. We do this every time. When we come in, the first thing we do, we greet them, we bring excitement, and then we say, give us the grand tour. I don't care if it's a studio and you can see everything right there. We still ask for the grand tour because we got to get them talking. Okay. So we get them going. We start asking them questions. What made you buy this property? Why did you love it? Blah, blah, blah. Or did you inherit it? Or whatever the case is, get them talking. Okay. And then, again, it's just going to make for a better experience overall. Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. What do we got next? Oh, now this is very important. Be prepared. Spend some time. We're all busy, right? This goes back to making them feel important. Be prepared, okay? Think about the just what you know so far. You're going to go deeper. Even if you already know, you're going to ask those questions again, just like the doctor, right? You're going to consult. But you want to be prepared for their objections also, okay? So be prepared, okay? You're going to want to have some things with you with that preparation. Have some comps. If you can pull comps that day, have them, okay, with you. And you want to leave them some papers, okay? Have the listing paperwork with you. That's important too. Have that with you because you want to, if possible, get that exclusive agency signed then, okay? The other thing you want to have with you is your marketing information, okay? That is important. You are there to provide a solution, okay? You want to know what the problem is. You want to diagnose the problem. You want to agitate the problem. And then you want to swoop in with the solution, okay? So being prepared is going to allow you to do that. And then, so important, make sure that you have things to leave with them, especially if they say, "Oh, I want to think about it." If you take everything with you, they don't have a lot to think about, and somebody might come in behind you and swoop and take that away. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you definitely want to be really prepared. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're doing also is, now this is going to sound real salesy. Assume the close. What in the world are we talking about? All right. You need to assume that you're already working for them. You're going to assume that they're already going to work with you. So as a consultant, when you're asking the questions and speaking to them, some agents come from the point of view as, hey, this is an interview. And well, that's what they do. They go on interviews. I don't go on interviews. I'm coming in as a consultant, and they can agree if they like the solution. We can get started today. So that's going to help you win a lot more business. The clients will close themselves because they're happy with you and your solution. instead of, this interview process. And they're like, oh, I guess I need to interview more people because it's an interview, right? So assume the close, okay? And not in a presumptuous, dogmatic, or haughty way. Just, give them a good solution. I mean, if you really stand behind it, if you're true to it, it should be good. You should be, uh, a great solution for them.
And that's another great reason to bring the listing paperwork with you, because then you can take notes about different features in the home, and it shows that you are getting involved in the process. So they want to work with you because you're taking the time to find out all these features that they liked and making notes about it. It just lets them know that you are planning on working with them and that they're planning on working with you because you're already getting paperwork together.
Right. That's right. And we like to, this is kind of a overview. We want to give you, like, these are the core things that you need to do. Another thing that I want to just throw out there is, again, we kind of touched on it, but if you can, you want to get them on paper that day. And the biggest thing is normally fear of loss, right? They have a problem, they want a solution, they want to get their home marketed and sold for the most possible, right? More than likely. So if you want to help them accomplish that, you need to let them know, well, I'm sure that you've brought your car in for service before, and in order for the tech or the company to start working on your vehicle, you have to give them written permission to go ahead and get started. Well, this paperwork, this is called an exclusive listing. This allows us, our company, to go ahead and get started, if you're happy, marketing today. And we can actually get some buyers lined up with our coming soon marketing. We can actually line them up before it actually hits the market. We get 7 days to do that, so we can actually, would you like us to get started with that today? Yeah, sure. Sometimes you have to ask different ways, 3 times of what you want, but you'll get it. And really, if you're helping them, that's it. We have a lot more. Like, this is, we can't go into everything, as far as, like, who's the decision maker, and there's a lot of parts to it that we go into super deep training, but we wanted to give you a really good idea of how you can walk in and win that listing. Okay. All right. I hope you've gotten something out of this, some value. We want to thank everybody for logging in and watching this. And if you're watching the replay, give it a thumbs up, and let people know. You can feel free to share this if you've gotten some value from it.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
All right, we'll see you. Oh yeah, and make sure you tune in to prettyhomeacademy.com.
Bye.